Hello, and welcome to the ProQuest Statistical Data Sets training series. In this session, you'll learn how to use the calculator tool in ProQuest Statistical Data Sets. For the purpose of this session, we'll research the topic Women Over 60 with AIDS in the South. We'll start by going to Health and Vital Statistics in the indicator tree found under Browse by Subject and open the data set entitled AIDS Cases Reported. The criteria are located in the top panel. So, in order to answer the specific question, we'll make some selections. First, choose your region, which in this example is the South. For age criteria, choose 60 to 64, and then control-click on 65 years old or older to select both data sets. To select a specific gender, click on Females. Since you are interested in all races, you will not be selecting from the race criteria. Now we'll change from Trend, which is the first of the three graphic display buttons, and click on Ranking. Notice that the Map button is grayed out because there is no geospatial data available for this particular data set. When you change your data set from Trend to Ranking, you'll see that the South is the highest of AIDS cases reported. Note that there is data for 60 to 64 and 65 and older, and these are all color-coded. The legend shows that 60 to 64 is blue, which matches your tabular data and the data in the list box. You can select whichever information you want and list or unlist it in your tabular data and plot or unplot it in your graphical data. You will now use the calculator tool. Since you need all women over 60, add your two data sets together. You have the blue, 60 to 64, plus the gold, which is 65 and older, and save. Now, a third bar appears, representing our total in teal. You can now see why it's a good idea to have this list box and be able to manipulate the data in this list and in the graph. Since you only want the total that addresses your reference question, you can unlist the blue and the gold and unplot the blue and the gold from your legend. Click on the teal color because we're going to assume that not only do you want South, women over 60, and AIDS, but you also want this to be customized to work with the color scheme you have chosen for your presentation, and you want to have the label that describes that formula. After you click on the teal color, you are going to do two things in this box. First, you are going to change the label in the legend, and then you are going to change the color. So, in the column name field, in the column editor, type in Women Over 60 with AIDS, and then click on Change Color. For this example, we'll assume that you want garnet. So select garnet, click OK, and save everything that you have just done. So now you have in your legend Women Over 60 with AIDS, and you have the color that you want. You can make further changes to customize your results. You're showing a box bar chart, so you can change this to a cylinder bar chart if you think that will be a better way to display this data, or you can change your layout. Remember that you are working from the customization bar, so you can change your layout to graph only. Go to the up arrow on the right-hand side and click on it. And this is what your PowerPoint slide for AIDS cases reported would look like. Now, let's reset everything and try a somewhat more advanced calculation. Notice on the black bar that you have a reset button. For the purposes of this example, we are going to reset the settings, change the layout back to the default, and select Trends. Go to the left-hand side and select Energy Resources and Demand. Now select Crude Oil Imports. Notice the little blue booklet, which represents the data sets under Energy Resources. You have two time frames from which to select, by year and by month. You can see the breakdown of the data representing all U.S. crude oil imports. The data sets chosen will appear in the legend and in the label in your tabular data. Let's say you want to know how much crude oil the United States imported from the Persian Gulf. Control-click or multi-select on the Persian Gulf, and now you have two data sets represented. Barrels for U.S. crude and barrels for the Persian Gulf. Now use the calculator tool. Click C2, the Persian Gulf, divided by C1, all U.S. crude. You'll need to multiply that by 100 to derive a percentage. Round to 2 decimal points, save, and note your percentages are now in the new column that has been added. Now let's get rid of U.S. crude and Persian crude and just look at the percentage change. You will unlist and unplot the blue so that it disappears from your table and your graph. You are also going to unlist and unplot the gold, and now you're only left with the percentage of crude oil that comes from the Persian Gulf. Notice that as the cursor moves over the top spikes, an increased dependency is evident in 1993, 1999, and 2001, but decreases in 2009. In the search box, we'll type fear. The fear index, also known as the VIX, is the volatility index for the Chicago Board Options Exchange. Make sure your time frame is set to business day. Open the Statistical Analysis tool and select the closing data for the index. Select Statistical Analysis and see your options for this data set. Choose Fit a Straight Line using least squares. As you can see, the straight line fit is trending upward from 2006 to 2010. If you want to look at the standard deviation, you could apply that as well. Now you will have a standard deviation +1 for the fear index from 2006 to 2010. These are just some examples of how you can use the calculator tool and the statistical analysis tool. That concludes this session of the calculator tool in statistical data sets. To learn more about how you can significantly optimize your search capabilities with the incredible range and power of ProQuest, please consult the other videos in this training series.